Kept you waiting, huh?
It's finally time. Dampé receiving the news. The world title fight is officially confirmed for August 17th. Jose Mendoza vs Joe Yabuki. All the while, Yoko's being a bit depressing thinking about Joe having punch drunk syndrome, detailing things that Joe has had. But when Joe fights, it's clear he's able to function in a remarkable way for someone who would have CTE. But the worry is still there as he does have the symptoms, as Yoko asks for a favor from the doctor. While Joe is locked in for the biggest fight of his life, Nishi will be there as a second, even delaying his own honeymoon so he can be there, as Joe rage baits Dampé into falling on his ass, and the posse is dressed in their kimonos. But it doesn't matter, because this fight will be fireworks as we see the man himself, Jose Mendoza, arriving for this fight, looking as fresh as ever because he's a god within the boxing ring. And it's time for the press conference. After this, there really is no going back. This fight is official. Jose talking up Joe as an incredible opponent, while Joe details what he thinks. August 17th is going to be the fight of his life, no matter what, as they exchange a sign of respect with a little nice training montage of all types. And Dr. Kaninsky has arrived in Japan, where it's time for the wedding. All the members of the slums, essentially one large family here to see it, and it is beautiful. Just look at them. Nishi giving Noriko the ring, and they're finally married. Look at Joe. As Joe gives a speech singing and thinking about the pair's growth from juvenile detention. All the while Jose is training on the beach because he's just like that. I mean, this man's aura forming on a cliff with a corkscrew punch, getting his regular scheduled checkup, fully healthy in mind and body. But it also turns out the doctor is here to check up on Joe, Yoko telling him something about their relationship. And the doctor is 99% saying that Joe has punch drunk syndrome, extremely advanced form of it as well, which explains why Joe's eyes sometimes vanish for a minute. Yoko calls Joe driving the car, taking Joe on some sort of meal as the doctor mysteriously arrives. Naturally, Joe catches on this as a planned meetup, and he has no intention of getting a checkup from the doctor. Jose's still training like a beast, running past Sugar, funnily enough, who has an interview with Jose. Two key questions about Carlos: how they didn't fight and how Carlos being crippled was the fact he won. He merely responds to those are rumors and not something he cares about. What a gentleman.
Fuck you and your fucking $30 haircut.
While the doctor is observing Joe's tapes, and then we see a little bit of Carlos's x-ray. He has, or had, a fractured skull. As Yoko needs to call Dampé, but Joe's a bit of an asshole getting the phone put down. Despite that, late at night, Joe is restless going out on a run. While Yoko realizes that Joe losing his wildness is because he has, severe brain damage, and the fact that she had a psychopath who does backflips and punch people in the back of the head was actually not a smart move.
No shit.
As Joe has a dog. Wow, that's pretty cute. But even as Yoko continues to ring, Joe ensures the phone gets put down. He does not care about anything she has to say. And a few days later, it's the same thing, even leaving the woman standing out in the rain. But after doing all the hard work, she finally managed to get it through. It's the x-ray as I stated. It's an image of Carlos's fractured skull, which could have only occurred due to a corkscrew punch, meaning that Joe didn't cripple him, even though Carlos was punch drunk before, so all that did was make it, worse. But more days later, Yoko stands at Rikishi's grave, asking the man for some divine intervention to save Joe from this cruel fate. Something that not even Joe can face. Jose having a spar against a lightweight Moriyama, easily avoiding the offense, body blow, punch, rest in peace. Jose ended it that fast because no one from Joe's team is there. And apparently Joe Yabuki is in the hills, Yoko hitting some sick drifts to get there, using the makeshift gym to blaze away from all the noise. But why exactly would they do that? It's so Joe can avoid hearing the phone over and over again. And late at night it's time for a spar versus a disabled old man. Dampé naturally getting overpowered as Joe is too powerful for a retired boxer, while Joe counts him out. It's a KO. It took 37 seconds as he charges forward, Joe avoiding before a big right knocks him down. That's a bit creepy, isn't it? Now it's outright nighttime and both men are firing cannons. Dampé just punched him in the ass, but it's time for reminiscing. The kid who pushed Dampé away is about to fight the world champion. Where would both men be if they didn't find each other? Wherever it would be, it would not be nice. And Yoko has arrived, but they're not here, they're running up a hill. As despite all the joy, Dampé has that fear in his mind. Is Joe gonna die in the ring? Is there something else wrong with him? It cannot be explained. While Joe's alone thinking about everything once more, the insanely handsome Rikishi in that season 2 animation. What a legend. If he didn't box, they would never have met either. And somehow Joe has found himself in a random group of guys who are training. As they cheer, listen. Joe carrying a drunk Dampé back to the cabin. What an actual bond, man. We're finally back, and once more, it's memories time. Joe's youngest memories, how he'd always run away from an orphanage, with his hat growing with him apparently, travelling through storms and all. And once more, Joe won't answer the phone. Well, there's a man. It's Wolf, returning the money he did after, he did a runner, as Joe tells him he struggles to sleep before fighting him too. And say what you want about Wolf, the guy is pretty cool.
Hey, 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 blue.
all the time in the world, well, there is not enough time as well, because it is August 17th, the fight of the century. And you wouldn't guess who's here. It's all the older guys from Juvie. It's the guy who Joe squashed. It's the Rikishi Dick Rider, Aoyama. Rikishi in Season 2 looks so built different, man, it's unreal. Thinking about when the pair tried to break each other's face, with Joe using rocks like a little demon, as Joe is ironically the youngest one despite it all. And it also turns out Sugar is going to be watching this match as a fan, not just a journalist, as he was preparing to write a story about Joe losing. Yoko finally manages to tell Joe that he can't fight because he has punch drunk syndrome, but Joe knows. Joe always knew he had it. It was his own body. He obviously knew he had brain damage, but he doesn't care because he wants this fight no matter what. Even as she confesses her love to Joe, she can't let him get in that ring, but Jose is waiting. The world champion, the strongest man in the world, is waiting for Joe in the ring. And there's only one thing he can do: fight like he has all his life. The lights shining brighter than ever before. Wolf, Carlos, Gonzo, the prison guys, everyone's here for this fight. The King of Kings against the Wild Kid. Will there be a miracle, or will the King win again? Bell ringing and Joe wasting no time missing his right. Jose guarding his offense towards the body using that matrix weaving. Joe looking clumsy out there before Jose lands a three-piece combo sending Joe back. Joe keeps lunging forward, struggling to land any punch as Jose is untouchable. I mean, Joe was trying to use all his stamina in the first round like it's a video game. Spam your specials off the back, I get you, bro. With our second round beginning, Joe still missing against those dodges because Jose has just got Ultra Instinct out there for a massive uppercut right and then a body blow. But somehow Joe stays up and missing his uppercut with a massive corkscrew landing. Joe somehow staying up before bang. Still up, still missing. Is it Jose's strength or Joe's CT weakness that is screwing him in this fight? Well, the second round has ended already and Joe looks quite dumb. In the third round, it is the exact same tempo. Jose's dodges are occurring at the last millisecond, landing another corkscrew, and this time Joe is down. Release me! With his eyes rolling around in his skull. But somehow Joe is up, even when everyone thought he'd stay dead. Wobbling over towards Jose, who casually weaves and just toys with Joe, smashing him onto the ropes again. I mean, it's looking worse and worse for our boy at this rate, isn't it? Joe charging and eating a right, having his blood go over Dampe. What the hell was that, man? Joe still missing until finally landing two punches, even though Jose is holding him, as Joe swings like a dog. As if his arms aren't working, it's the same strategy Jose used in Hawaii. Jose eating those punches for breakfast, lunch, and even dinner, cracking Joe with a right left, Joe getting saved by that bell. And Joe is basically dead on his stool, imagining himself younger, wandering as a drifter, like he always has been from the start. And as another round begins, Carlos appears out of nowhere. Jose, seeing his former rival, allows Joe to land a punch. Bang, another right before beating this man into the ropes. Jose unable to understand where the hell Carlos came from, smashing Joe onto the mat for the finale. But Joe gets up with that right eye blurry, and he lands, and Joe lands again and again, left right against Jose in the corner, unveiling his power, beating that bum into the corner. The only explainable thing is that Carlos is here. But is it that? Or is Joe Yabuki alive? Is the greatest protagonist in sports? Oh my god, this fight is so fucking good! Power! Sorry, I went a bit crazy. Our new round beginning as Joe lands a big punch, a left right to the body, left right, good fucking night. That big left having the unstoppable world champion down for the first time in his career.
That happened to me, I'd kill myself.
Oh yeah.
Getting up as Joe slams a punch to that jaw, taking control as Joe is now pulling off the corkscrew. In the most integral fight of his life, he is pulling off the most deadly move in boxing. Even the cool collected champion is stressed because those corkscrews are doing meaty ass damage. But despite that fact, Joe didn't realize he was actually using corkscrews. It's now the 6th round after the previous one ended, and Joe is doing it. Joe is beating the world champion easily. Even the cool dodging and tight ass guard is no match for Joe's relentless attacks. But then an uppercut body blow. Joe staying alive because Joe is built like that. Launch back against the ropes with a massive one having him down. Joe aura farming by counting with the ref at the same time.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Joe leaping forward, dodging a punch barely, before using Jose's own strat against him, letting the undisputed champion hit him with everything he's got. A big body blow with left and right pouring down on Joe. Joe is uncaring, Joe is unmoving, Joe's unwavering relief is astounding, if you will. Joe pushing him back, firing pure cannons against the ropes. As both men keep throwing, Joe once again managing to knock down the world champion, and it is unexplainable with the round ending. As Joe explains what happens, the arm strategy is basically a trick. It lessens the damage from the punches because the punches are slower. Jose can't really take punches as well as most people. So when he's doing that, he was making his opponents think he's a tank, when in reality,
He's a pussy.
Joe drifting off on the stool, imagining the man himself, anime's first alpha male and the biggest legend, Toru Rikishi, who in this stream is the world champion, and they're gonna fight, which is their destiny. Joe also seeing Carlos before waking up. And for our 7th round, Joe's right eye is basically blind, eating a combo from Jose who's beginning to overpower him, destroying our boy against the ropes, before Joe lunges back with that quick 1-2 counterattack. Head body head, what a menace, punching at every single point of Jose's body as they exchange once again. Joe imagining he's fighting Rikishi, battering Jose against the ropes, knocking him down for the 3rd time. Carlos is now in his corner, but Jose has realized what's going on. Joe can't actually see out of his right eye, and because of it, that's why his punches were landing, because they were actually curving into him. While Jose is on his stool, basically telling his coach, please call this fight. But because Joe is actually winning in this context, the fight can't end. Jose acknowledging Joe's strength, but it's time. Severe CTE allowing Jose to dodge before breaking him with a corkscrew, and then another before comboing Joe onto the ground. Somehow rising again, but he is hitting all air as Jose prepares for the finale. The punches are bloody, they're brutal. A massive punch making me grimace behind the screen, but then a massive left to the face and a bigger right to the jaw. Punches to the air too, while Wolf in the crowd realizes that Joe's eyes are fucked. Noriko thinking back on all the times they had, Joe's future if he became the world champion, or will he just disappear like the lonesome wanderer he is? Back with the fight, Joe eating a big right, having him down on the mat, managing to rise, eating one directly to the face, but he somehow survives because if he went down, it would have been all over. And on the stool, Joe tells Dampe he can't stop. He needs to burn up like white ash. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't matter now, because all bets are off. Joe eating more rights and lefts to the temple, and an uppercut. It's getting even more brutal as another one lands to Joe. Joe's eye is gone, slipping down onto the mat, and yet he still gets up. Still missing, beaten and impaled into the body. Massive uppercut jumping to save himself as Jose overpowers him against the ropes. Going down at some point, because now we're with Yoko, unable to watch the man she loves fight in such a horrible state. But despite her fears, Joe is still fighting, refusing to let Jose beat him as the car turns around, as she has to be there for the end, no matter what that is. Arriving with Joe eating more punches against the ropes, firing back against Jose, with both men just exchanging against each other. Jose is damaged, but another exchange. Jose landing his combo before Joe responds with a left to the face and jaw. Round ending, and Jose is stressed at Joe's unwavering belief to fight even if he could die. Joe throwing his towel away, and Yoko ensuring it cannot be thrown in, telling Joe to fight to the bitter end, no matter what. Now it's the 13th round. Joe eating even more CTE punches, slowly walking Jose down as he lands over and over again, firing those bombs, the training he got from Dampe himself. As he slowly turns to face Jose, we see the most empty expression ever. And I'm just gonna let it play out.
That motherfucker's cheating! He's cheating!
No move was too dirty in that, with Jose getting 1 point deducted. The champion cheating, and it's not an understatement, Jose is terrified. Jose is shit scared right now. All the while we see in Joe's eye, Rikishi. Round 14 and Jose is unable to understand who he's fighting against. Joe should be dead, but if that's the case, then who is he fighting? This is the Phantom of Joe Yabuki and his fighting spirit, landing a big right, a demolishing left to the temple. Jose barely guarding the rest as the bell rings, and this is going to be our final round no matter what. 3 minutes of history. 3 minutes for the greatest conclusion in an anime ever. Jose charging in, leading his offense as Joe is knocked down nearly instantly, but Joe gets up. Jose in panic mode as a cross counter rings, collapsing the champion, who gets up as both men are on the verge of death as they keep fighting with another cross counter landing, knocking Jose down again. And at this point they're just throwing hands until the bell rings. The end of this fight. As Joe sits in his corner and hands his bloody gloves to Yoko with a smile, closing his eyes as Jose's declared the winner in the end to an insane fight. And I mean, he took his soul. He made him a ghoul. As Dampe tells Joe, he did him proud. But Joe? Well, Joe.
燃えたよ。燃え尽きた。真っ白にな。
あいつのそぶりは
난